stars one time when he's poaching. Now, he just realizes that 5 rifles are pointing at him one day. After attempting to expose his bosses, heavily engaging in poaching schemes, his superiors accuse him of aiding in poaching, and he is suspended. By then, he was not conducting poaching activities. So there are investigations that are pending, and therefore it takes about 8 years, 8 good years. We have seen him having spent 2 nights without a meal, and that is what convinces him to take to poaching. Langai meets Mugeni when he has spent 2 days without a meal, and he informs him that if he takes part in poaching, then he'll have a generous pay of 50,000 shillings for every horn. You understand, the horns that are taken are from rhinos, right? So Langai accepts the job, imagining that he will be so rich, and after shooting lions, he can fly out of the country. Yeah, you can actually see that that is illegitimate business that you should not accept, however much hungry or poor you are. Now, one day Langai goes to for shooting event, but finds it very difficult to shoot. Regardless of how much Mugeni is pressing him and persuading him, he is really resisting. Mugeni has had a promise from Chung Ling, a Chinese man who has asked him to deliver about 20 horns in just 24 hours. He has already received a down payment of 800,000 Kenyan shillings. However, Langai just recalls the 5 months down the recruitment to poaching, and having obtained just 4 rhinos, he realizes that there is a very noisy conservatist concern that is demanding that they should now be conserving the animals, and we have the animal rights people campaigning against anything to do with the poaching. There is a red flag that has been raised, and so international communities are getting concerned, and they are very vocal about this trade. Even though a kilogram of horn is now as expensive as 50,000 shillings, it's not easy to acquire a horn from a rhino. So white officers readily to take bribes from the poachers, and then they allow them or direct them to the largest herds in the destinations within the park. Now, he had regretted for having killed at one time a rhino that was almost calving. They dehorned this rhino, and the fluid just splashed in his face, and the whole night he had conducted this brutal act with Johnny. And Johnny had even gone to an extent of checking whether the calf that they had just pulled out of the mother's stomach had horns, and they realized that it was just beginning, and they say that that is a good beginning. Now, we realize that he walks the entire night, and that night when he's walking, he is smelling, there is a stench, a strong stench around him. Now, he almost throws up. So he decides to abstain, and he has been able to abstain for 4 months. You can imagine, if you have been able to abstain from something for 4 months, then what is this that makes Langai go back to it? He now feared that he could have a cardiac arrest because he was struggling to pull the trigger. Mugeni was pushing him, but his conscience was against it. So he knew that the consequences of such a crime, in case it's found, are very, critical. Mugeni really hated him because, he was delaying his access to the money that he was just awaiting. Even though Mugeni feared shooting, but he could see that Langai could do it. So they keep fixing their eyes on these animals that are not very far from where they are. And he wonders why Langai is not actually shooting. He's quite selfish. So he looks at the animals and he doesn't know why this man is not just shooting this animal at once. Yeah. So remember, Chung Ling had been watching TV with Mugeni the previous evening, and while they were watching, he had indicated where the rhinos were, and there was a very large herd, and they had organized with the tour guides And Mugeni had promised that even though it was very difficult, but in such a country, nothing was impossible. So they had agreed that he would get 20 horns. 20 horns means 10 rhinos. And you can see that is very brutal, and there'll be a lot of bloodshed. So he realized that the Tourism Service Board shares this video footage, but sometimes it directs the poachers towards where the herds are. Now, with such the need to acquire 20 horns, Mugeni urged Langai to shoot 10 rhinos. So they got to the spot and they were to shoot, but Langai was not doing it. Now, Langai began telling Mugeni that they should just leave the rhinos to grow old, and once they are old, they could just dehorn them after all, once they die natural death, or if they die in the hands of other animals. But Mugeni then rejects this kind of lectures and tells him, why are you lecturing me? Refocus. After all, why did you agree to have the deal? Yeah, you understand? So it was impossible for whatever inner desires Langai had and what Mugeni has, and the push for money. Yeah, so it ends up that patriotism is annoying Mugeni, and Langai therefore just picks out of the 800,000 he had and gives Langai some. Mugeni, that is, picks the money and gives Langai some of it. And so with that, Langai is convinced to shoot. But the moment he shoots, he strikes a tree. He does not actually shoot a rhino as he's used to. And then he hears Mugeni saying, take cover. In the process, Chongling arrives with the police. It means that he had just set a trap. He was working for the government. Yeah, so we can see this setting economically is a medium, low class and high class. We have variety of people. There are people who poach to survive. There are those who have a lot of money, like Chongling has 800,000 given just like that. Then we have people like Langai who can even spend a whole 2 days without food. Now this, the social setting of this story is a park society. So we realize that the majority of intention of the author is to defend the animals. Yeah, and it is a post-colonial modern time. Yeah, the time when people can look at individual needs. Geographically, as I've said, it's already a park. Now the characters we have Chongling, we have Mungai, and we have Langai. Another time I'll be talking more about character and characterization. I don't want to rush you through because I understand. You as students in grade 8, you have to understand every single detail. Now I'll ask you some questions. When the story starts, where do we see Langai? What is Mugeni doing? Why are they in the park? Which animals are they targeting to kill? When does Mugeni and Chongling meet? Where exactly do they meet? How do they see the herd of rhinos? How many horns is Mugeni supposed to deliver to Chongling? When they go to the park, why doesn't Langai shoot? What was his previous job? Why is he an expert in shooting? Why is he restraining from shooting regardless of Mungai trying to force him to do so? What does he tell Mugeni about the killing of rhinos? Just go through these questions and see whether you can answer, because I know that is what can help you to know the plot sequence, because today I told you I'll be focusing on plot sequence. Now go through these questions. I know by the time you are through with answering them, the 40 minutes of a lesson should be over. If you have any questions about plot sequence, kindly call me, or you can just get to my YouTube channel. Edutainment for Us is the channel I'm broadcasting from. And if you have not subscribed yet, just press on the notification bell so that you can be informed about any other progress that I'll make on concerning the JSS books. Bye bye for now.